Okay, good morning. Welcome to
FamilyMath number 114a.
FamilyMath number 114a, Sums, Squares, and Games.
Ooh.
So this is going to be a family math that's going to be divided into 3 parts today, and it's off of a really cool video I saw yesterday by some people online called Number File.
Cool.
And I'm going to do it in a slightly different way than they do it, but this is going to be a really fun day for us. So the first thing we're going to look at is an interesting square that someone I follow on Twitter, a guy named Patrick Honor, who's a teacher in New York.
Yeah.
He teaches high school in New York. He put this about a year ago, and I thought it was really neat. So we start out with this big 1x1 square.
Yep.
You see that?
Yeah.
What is the area of a 1x1 square?
It's 1.
1, because you do 1 times 1, which is
1.
1. Very good. And then, this by the way is called a proof without words. But I'm going to use some words. Just
Okay.
because a video without words would be sort of dull.
Yeah.
Okay, so what he does is he chops it up into pieces. So first he makes that 1/2 by 1/2 square. And what's the area of that 1/2 by 1/2 square?
It's a fourth.
Fourth. Then he makes 2 rectangles that have an area of 1/8. It goes over halfway here, which is 1/4, and 1/2 tall. So 1/4 times 1/2 is?
An 8.
An 1/8, very good. And then he does the same thing up here. Each time going halfway across.
Cool.
Okay.
Kind of like the chaos game, we did halfway to each vertex of the triangle.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, it is sort of similar to the chaos game. This one isn't randomly going halfway.
Yeah.
That's the difference. But
This
you're
one's
right.
more controlled.
This one's more controlled. So now every time we keep going halfway across, if you want to look at it this way,
Yeah.
or you keep going halfway up if you want to look at it this way. So the next time we go up 1/8, and we have a rectangle that's 1/8 by 1/2. What's the area of
The
that?
16th.
But here we go up, on this one we go up 1/4 and over 1/4, which produces
A 16th
16th
also.
a rectangle with area of 16th. And this one we go over 1/8 up 1/2, which is,
16.
so we have 3/16.
Cool.
And as we continue this progress, how far are we going to get over here? Are we going to ever get past the end of the square?
No, we can't, because we keep getting smaller and smaller.
We keep going halfway towards the edge.
So this one, there's going to be 32nd, 64th, all the way up.
Right, and we're going to get a sum here of areas that's, I didn't leave myself enough room to write it. I'm going to erase some squares and games. I'm going to get 1/4
1/4.
plus 2/8 plus 3/16 plus 4/32. What do you think is going to come next?
5/64.
And that's going to come from a rectangle that's going to be here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those are going to all have area 1/64.
Cool.
And then 6 128ths,
Yeah.
etc.
Let's not draw that.
Okay, now, this sum, which is very complicated, in fact, you and I just started talking about fractions this week, right?
Yeah.
So, would you think it would be a fair question for me to ask you about an infinite sum of fractions 1 week into studying fractions?
No.
Yes, it would! But, thanks to Mr. Harner's picture here, we have a pretty good guess of what is this sum going to eventually equal. What do you think?
I think 1.
Why?
Because you have the area of the big thing is 1. And then you have tons of smaller areas inside it that go on for infinity.
Okay, and what do you think this sum's going to be?
I think it's going to be 1 also.
Why is that?
Well, if you keep going on forever, you're gonna eventually touch it. But you're gonna eventually touch the sides. But why is that?
It's interesting, right? We keep going halfway this way, halfway this way. We keep getting closer and closer to the side, so we keep eventually getting closer and closer to the rectangle. Do we ever, after any set number of steps, do we ever touch the rectangle?
No, you have to keep going on for infinity.
You keep getting closer and closer and closer, right?
Then you
Cool.
never touch.
But you never quite get there. But after infinity,
You could get there.
you're sort of, you're so close you can't even tell the difference.
Infinity plus 1.
So this sum, 1/4 plus 2/8 plus 3/16 plus 4/32 plus 5/64 plus 6 128ths, etc., eventually is going to fill up this square.
Cool.
and that means the sum adds up to 1. Now, one important thing, when I multiply this by 4, this is going to come into our game later on. Let's multiply this by 4. Okay,
Ooh.
so I get 1/4 times 4 is, you know that's a fair question.
That's actually 1.
1. What's 2/8?
It's also
Times 4.
It's also 1 because 2/8 is
Yeah, let's
fourth.
leave the 2 on the top though. So 2/8 times 4 is what?
2/2.
2/2. 3/16 times 4 is
3/4.
3/4. Now you do this one. What's 4/32 times 4?
16 30-seconds. It's a half. Wait, but you have to multiply the bottom too.
Yeah, sorry. You're right. It is a half. I wrote the wrong thing. So it becomes 4/8
What?
Right.
It's cool.
plus 5/16 plus etc. So when I multiply this whole thing by 4, this new sum,
Cool.
what do you think that adds up to?
Well, you already have
It added
Two.
to 4 then.
cool.
It adds up to 4. Do you see why it adds up to 4?
Well, but you've already got two. You've already got 2 1s at the beginning.
Yeah?
Well, because you multiply both sides by 4. You multiply every single fraction by 4, but you have to multiply this side by 4.
Then I multiply the other side by 4.
Cool.
The original one equals 1, so this sum equals 4.
Cool.
Okay?
Mhm.
Alright, good job guys. Now we're going to go play a really fun game.
Cool.